if the commitments you made, you have achieved 80%. There are some commitments that are work in progress. But what I was trying to point to you is that of the commitments I made to the people of Kenya, commitments on the economy, commitments on education, commitments on agriculture, commitments on housing, commitments on making sure we control our debt, commitments on making sure that we have universal health coverage, I can confidently say we are at 80%. That does not mean we have discharged every commitment. There are commitments that are outstanding. Among them is that one on making sure that we respect the two-thirds gender principle.
Will you reconstitute the cabinet?
It is, that's a much more simpler thing to say.
Okay, let me just...
But let me just, we are speaking in context.
Yes.
Don't make it simplistic.
I am not, sir.
Because, there are many people who are telling me, for example, I heard from exactly what you are saying, you must get 100% for you to have passed. I don't think that is fair to say, for you to have passed, you must get 100%. I think what we are saying is, have we, in the collective assessment of the people of Kenya,
yes,
have we kept our part of the bargain substantively? You remember I used the words progressively in my statement several times.
Yes.
Have we made progress progressively? Yes, we have done. Have we done 100%? No, we have not got 100%. Some of it, as was said here by leaders, is work in progress. And its attainment may not happen today. Just the same way, the court has ruled that Parliament is unconstitutional because of the two-thirds gender rule.
Yes.
That determination was made by court, I think, almost 5 years ago, 6 years ago, to be exact. But it's work in progress, I did make proposals myself to Parliament on how we could attain the two-thirds gender rule. It is still work in progress in Parliament. And I think progressively, without being too aggressive against ourselves, that is work in progress.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I want to move to my leadership, the Honorable Chief Justice. As head of the judicial arm of government, the judiciary, we the people, created the judiciary and wanted the judiciary to be the ultimate arbiter and the one that upholds constitutionalism and the rule of law in this country. Madam Chief Justice, there have been questions of integrity within the judiciary. You've addressed them previously, but you continue to address them. The question that I asked to you is, would Kenyans believe that their judiciary is functional when questions of integrity keep arising towards it and they don't see progress being made?
Thank you very much, our moderator. Thank you, Your Excellency, for inviting me to this forum. I'm honored, greatly honored, to participate in this forum where we are looking at our Constitution and asking ourselves whether it has worked for us, what we need to do to make it work better. Now, when I look at the judiciary, we agree that judicial authority comes from the people. The people are sovereign, and therefore we are servants of the people. And whatever we do in serving them, we always ask whether we are meeting the expectations of the people, whether we are responding to their expectations, whether justice is truly a lived reality in Kenya. So this constitution has really strengthened the judiciary, because now judicial independence is constitutionally entrenched. But we take it that judicial independence goes hand in hand with accountability. We ask ourselves whether in the way we deliver justice, are we reaching out to every Kenyan? Can every Kenyan access justice? And that is where we begin, Latif, to tell ourselves that delivery of justice services is like any other service. And therefore, we have a duty to reach to the very last mile with judicial services. And when we looked around, the number of Kenyans who can access formal justice services are a paltry 17%. The rest of Kenyans look for justice elsewhere through other means. They go to the chiefs, they go to their religious leaders, they go to their community, to their elders to seek justice. And therefore we asked ourselves as judiciary, and especially me as the Chief Justice, am I only a Chief Justice of the 17%? No. So we must net everybody. And this is why we are working with communities to expand the multi-door approach to justice to reach the alternative justice system, which is also a command of the Constitution, that we should promote NDR, alternative justice system, mediation, negotiation, reconciliation, and all that, so that every Kenyan can have a choice. Do I want to go to the formal court? Do I want to go to the alternative? And that if we are being celebrated even by the Commonwealth for having been able to link the informal justice system with the formal justice system. We have ukumbis or tribunals or community sessions where people are resolving disputes, and thanks be to this constitution, they are able now to come with those agreements. We have trained them on fair trial methods so that when they agree, we only ask ourselves whether this agreement meets the constitutional thresholds. Mm-hmm. We've been, and we have established ourselves in 16 counties where we have NJS. We have court-annexed mediation now in over 120 court stations where people can opt for mediation, negotiations, to agree on their disputes, and we are adopting those disputes as the orders of the court. You talked about corruption, and I think the priest who did the introductory remarks was very apt, that the manure that is eating Kenya is corruption, is issues of integrity. And I think all the speakers have spoken to it. For us in the judiciary, it's very, very serious. We have no other currency to trade in. The executive has the power of the sword, they have the power of the purse. We only have public trust to trade in. And therefore, Kenyans must have confidence in the judiciary, in the independence of the judiciary. And this independence cuts both ways. It's both independence for us to be able to make decisions without any interference from anybody or from any institution, but also It's an independence that ensures that the citizenry can have confidence in the judiciary.
Yeah.
So it's both way, and we are required to be accountable. We have done everything as a country to enact laws, beginning with the Constitution and other laws. What I would like to say is that corruption, in all its facets, is a criminal offense. And we have taken the front row in the judiciary to tell Kenyans that we operate a zero tolerance policy to corruption. We even do a daily briefing in our courts to tell Kenyans, when you come to court, you will not be asked for a bribe. You will not be asked for any facilitation. Please do not bring a bribe to the court.
Right.
We have worked with the NCAJ, the National Council on the Administration of Justice, to develop guidelines that will help us implement these laws against corruption. And we are implementing them in the judiciary. But it is a societal problem, Ratif, that requires Kenyans to say no to corruption. It requires a national conversation, because as much as we try to insulate ourselves in the judiciary, we are within this ecosystem where people believe in giving a bribe, or even believing somebody who has no connection with the judge or the magistrate, that I know the magistrate, I know the judge, I will fix your case, I collect money to go and take to the judge. The judge or the magistrate may not even know, but sometimes they know.
Yeah.
And therefore I've been saying it is wrong. We as judges and magistrates and judicial staff cannot be dispensing justice with one hand and committing a crime with the other. Any citizen who comes across a judge or a magistrate or a judicial staff asking for a bribe, we ask for cooperation.
Thank you, Madam CJ. Just a quick follow-up on that. Citizens told the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in their EACC 2025 survey that court magistrates attract the highest average bribe, apparently 164,000 shillings. Now, the one question I want to ask you, now that we are now introspecting 16 years in, can the judiciary really police and weed itself of corruption?
Yes and no, by everybody who has taken a oath of office to defend the Constitution, to defend the rule of law, to say no to corruption. But out there are many people posing as agents of the judges. They are the ones collecting money to bring to the judiciary. And Kenyans themselves, why are they giving money to come and bring to the judiciary? So we alone cannot, because like me as the Chief Justice, with my two eyes, corruption, I was told, is like, is it sodomy, or is it, what offense takes place, adultery, which takes place in the dark places. So with my two eyes, how can I know who is negotiating a bribe in their houses, in their chambers, in the hidden places where they do those things? So it's a societal problem, Ratif, that we all need to embrace and say no to corruption. Say the manure that is eating Kenya, like it happened in New York, is corruption.
Thank you, Madam CJ.
And therefore, we need to say no to it.
Asante. Thank you very much, Madam CJ. I want to move to the National Assembly, represented by the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Gladys Boss. When we, the people, created the legislative arms of government, and Parliament in particular, we created a Parliament that would represent us, that would create laws that we'd follow, and that would oversight the executive. Many complaints have been made in the public about the Parliament's role of oversighting the executive. Not just the 13th Parliament, the 12th Parliament, the 11th Parliament under the 2010 Constitution. Is Parliament, as constituted, maybe politically or otherwise, able to properly oversight the executive?
Thank you, Latif. And before I answer what your statement comes from, I first want to say we are here to discuss Katiba at 16 and what we have done as the National Assembly to implement the Constitution. So let me start with that because that's our business today. If you look at Article 43, which the President has spoken about very passionately, on the issues of health, if you look at the Social Health Authority Act, Parliament, National Assembly passed it. If you look at the Primary Health Act, it was the National Assembly that passed it. If you look at the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund, that is the National Assembly. If you look at the Digital Health Act, that's the National Assembly. So on the issue of health, under Article 43, we have made our part. On education, currently we have several laws. We have already, just yesterday, we were debating the an amendment to the Basic Education Act, because again, that's a right. It's a socio-economic right under Article 43, and further to that, there's more amendments that are going to the Higher Education Loans Board, the Tertiary Institutions Act, the Education Assessment Act, and so on. All those are ongoing. If you look at the right to water, again, we passed the National Water and Storage Authority Act, and that is already in place. If you look at the issue of housing, the Housing Levy Act was passed in Parliament. If you look at the changes that were made to our savings at the National Social Security Fund, again, that law was amended by Parliament to be able to allow an increased amount so that we can have increased savings in the country, so that we are not borrowing money from other countries, but we can borrow our own citizens' money. If you look at Social Security, on the money that is given to senior citizens by government, again, that took an act of Parliament. So we can categorically say that as the National Assembly, on the manifesto of the Ruto administration, we have been able to do our part. On the issue of the right to food, again, when you see some of the programs and some of the laws that we are passing, is to ensure that we are able to attain the issue of food security. The courts, on many cases, has castigated Parliament over public participation, and that's why the Public Participation Act is currently before the House and has gone to the Senate. Again, the National Infrastructure Fund, that's an act of Parliament. The National Sovereign Fund Act, that's from the National Assembly. The government-owned enterprises, that's also that. And just to tell you that Parliament is sensitive to the people, because we represent the people, and that's what the spirit of our Constitution says. When we had the crisis in the Strait of Hormuz, and the prices of fuel was going to go very high, immediately, in exactly one day, we sat until midnight and amended the Value-Added Tax Act to be able to bring the price of fuel to at least an acceptable level. So yes, Parliament is doing its part to be able to implement the Constitution. On the matters of oversight, every single day, when we are not sitting in plenary, we are calling to account the executive. I know that the Auditor General was here, and yes, you many times hear the voice of the Auditor General when she has audited a certain institution. Most of the time, it's announced publicly, even before it comes to Parliament. Remember, it does not end with the Auditor General. That report, the Auditor General must bring to the National Assembly, then the relevant committees review them, and then are able to give sanctions where required or give recommendations where required. In the past, Parliament was behind in about 6 or 7 years. But today I can confirm to you as chairperson of the Liaison Committee, the chairpersons have confirmed that Public Accounts Committee is now at 2024-2025 financial year. PIC, the same thing. So we have managed to review the reports. And the challenge had been before that there was only one committee dealing with it. After that, the PIC committee was split into thematic areas so that they can be able to work faster. We've deployed several staff to them to be able to do that. So yes, oversight is live and indeed. And today, we go on recess as Parliament. And people think that we go on holiday. Actually, every single committee is sitting for 3 straight